Welcome back. My next guest is Carolyn Fugate, the Veterans Outreach Coordinator and a U.S. Army veteran. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
So, Carolyn, delighted to have you on the program, and congratulations. You know, just recently I know that you were the recipient as a veteran of a motor vehicle that was rehabbed and donated. So, congratulations on that. There was a lot of media coverage on that. It's a great program. But you're the Veterans Outreach Coordinator for Bridges for the Joseph Dwyer program as well.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that towards the end, but you're a Rockland County resident and a U.S. Army veteran, correct?
Yes, I am.
So before we get to your military service, maybe you can give us a little thumbnail sketch of your background, where you were born and raised.
Okay. I was born and raised in the Lower East Side of Manhattan in Little Italy. 7 brothers and sisters. Of course, 2 parents.
Wow, big family.
It was a very big family. Growing up was great. You never had a chance to be bored with so many siblings running around. I was the middle one, so I bullied the little ones, and I got bullied by the big ones. But it was great growing up. It was a very tight-knit, family-oriented neighborhood that I grew up in. Everybody was very supportive.
We were talking off camera earlier where you went to school. So
I went to St. Patrick's Old Cathedral up to 8th grade, and then I graduated from there and went to St. Alphonsus Commercial High School. But in my senior year, the building caught fire, and we had to put our small Catholic, all-girls Catholic high school into St. Patrick's New Cathedral in Midtown Manhattan. So we had 2 schools in one, and I graduated at the St. Patrick's New Cathedral in Midtown Manhattan in 1980.
That must have been really neat, that experience, Midtown as well. So and St. Pat's is just a beautiful area. But maybe you could kind of lead us from there. So after you graduated from high school, what'd you end up doing? When did you get into?
Well, I graduated at 16 and a half. I was in a hurry to get out of school and start working. And I got a job. My first job was on Lafayette Street in Manhattan. I was a secretary and bookkeeper for 3 printing companies. There were 2 brothers and an uncle that each owned a printing company, but they were all together. So I did all of their books and payroll and stuff like that. Then unfortunately, the neighborhood, my friends started dabbling in a lot of drugs and everything, and I saw a lot of I lost a lot of friends at a very young age, 16, 17, 18, 19, and I decided I needed to do something better and more productive with my life, so I decided to join the Army. I tried to join in when I was 18, but the recruiter laughed and said, I don't think you're ready to be, in the military. And we went round and round. He said, if you're serious, come back in a year. So I went back in a year to the day, and I brought my mom with me. So I was like, okay, I'm back, I'm serious, and my mom is here. So that's when he started the process of, recruiting me, got all my high school records. I had some prior surgeries when I was a kid, like 7 years old. They had to obtain those records. I then went, got enlisted, sworn in, and I was on the delayed entry program. So I enlisted technically in April of '83, but I did not start boot camp until September of 1983. And I did my basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Unfortunately, I hurt both my legs during boot camp and was in soft cast. But I was resilient and wasn't going to start over, and I wasn't going to quit. So I completed boot camp with 2 soft casts on my legs. Graduated boot camp, went to Fort Lee, Virginia. There I was AIT, which was Advanced Individual Training, which is where I learned, I was a 76 Charlie, which is an equipment records and parts specialist. I served 17 weeks there with my training. And then I was sent to Fort Meade, Maryland, the 85th Medical Battalion, and that's where I remained until August of '84. And then I was called down to the commander's office and said, due to my stubbornness, and the doctors felt that it was better for me to get an honorable discharge with a service-connected disability. So I went and continue to hurt my legs, doing all the PT and all the training that's required to stay in active duty.
Right. So, you were able to be in for 2 years, and then you have a disability related to your service.
Yes, I am service-connected. I have a service-connected disability and disabled veteran. I receive a VA disability. In the process now of trying to get it increased, because unfortunately, as I'm getting older, the condition's getting worse. So I have Susan Brannon from the VSA office that's helping me to, and get my disability rating increased. I just underwent a lot of tests to find, to check everything out, and got a diagnosis. So now we got the ball rolling with, appealing that, trying to get the increase in my disability rating.
So let's talk a little bit about your efforts now and your work with Bridges. Maybe I'm very familiar with Bridges. I was the former executive director there when I was Rockland Independent Living before I became town supervisor, and so very proud of what Bridges has kind of grown into and continues to grow into. I was there when we brought the Dwyer program over, and that's really just a tremendous program that I think is connected with a lot of vets and has helped a lot of vets. But talk to us a little bit about Bridges and about your current position and the Dwyer program as well.
I became aware of Bridges in February of 2019 when I lost my boyfriend in a tragic snowmobile accident, and I was devastated. I was very depressed. I went up there and I was wanting to see if I could get some counseling because I was having bad thoughts. And I was blessed and met Sharon Bailey. She became my mentor. She talked with me. She helped me get back on my feet, introduced me to all the programs that Bridges and PFC Joseph P. Dwyer organization has with the Vet to Vet program. As a volunteer, I went all over with Sharon, and we went into all these events, and I just started to get to know people and get out of the house and get back on my own 2 feet. I enjoyed it so much that when a position became available in August, Sharon told me about it, and I filled out the application, and I met with Sharon and Lorraine Greenwell, and I was hired in August of 2019. It's a phenomenal organization. As you're aware, there are 22 veterans a day that are committing suicide. I was almost one of them, to be honest with you, but PFC Dwyer organization really helped me, and I felt like even if I didn't get hired there, I was going to continue volunteering to help save people and help other veterans know that they're not alone. No matter what happens and how bad you feel, there's someone out there that's willing to talk to you 24/7. We have mentors, we have transportation available to get veterans to the VA facilities in Montrose and Castle Point. We also have local transportation, RSVP, that drives veterans to local doctor's appointments and stuff like that at no cost to them. Our organization tries to do so much to get veterans out of their homes, get veterans to know that they're not alone, and to get them active and involved with other veterans, because once you get around other veterans, you can really cut up. When you're in the military, it's hard to talk to people that are civilians that don't know the military lingo and you know what you go through. So that's what we try to do. We try to leave no veterans home alone and feeling destitute, and we also try, if they need help, you know, with filing disability claims, we refer them to the VSA office in New City on Squadron Boulevard. If they need any mental health aid, anything like that, we try to provide them or lead them to the people that can help them. If it's something that our office, our organization doesn't do, we definitely don't stop until we find somebody to help these people, all the veterans, with what they need.
So it's just a tremendous program, and
It is.
you know, we can thank. He's now a congressman from New York State, Lee Zeldin, but he was a New York State senator, and he was really inspired by the Dwyer family, and ultimately by the as a veteran and you know, combat veteran, Zeldin, you know, as a state senator, you know, felt we needed to do something. So the Dwyer program is the New York version of a really wonderful program. It's continuing. And I'm just very proud of what Bridges has done. It's really there's loads of folks that veterans in our community that are going through PTSD, that are kind of out there siloed, having some real battles that they're continuing to fight.
Yes.
You know, their service is long over, but some of the after effects of the trauma, you know, remains. One of the things that we're seeing, unfortunately, is, and we've seen cases of it with Vietnam vets. They retire, and you know, then they're starting to feel and deal with emotions that they had repressed or put away from years and years and years ago, and now with some time in their hands, they're battling some of these demons. So the Dwyer program is really an effective way in which people can really connect, and it's exactly what you said, vet to vet. You know, just like it says in your shirt. You know, people, you know, they can kind of drop their guard down a little bit. They understand, well, this is a vet who knows what I'm going through, because
Yes.
and knows the lingo and knows the context.
What we try to do is, if there's a Vietnam veteran, we try to hook them up with a Vietnam mentor, so that they can have an understanding with, we've both been there.
Right.
We try to keep the women veterans with women mentors. And like I said, it helped me, and I've seen a significant difference in a lot of people that I've been able to work with so far. It's a wonderful organization, and I'd like to see it get more widespread worldwide, because unfortunately we are still losing way too many. Well, 22 is 22 too many veterans a day that are, and it's just because they feel like they don't have anywhere to go, no one to turn to, no one to talk to, and most of the time that's all they need is someone to talk to, just to get out, even if it's once a week, to give them a purpose to get out and get involved, and just to talk to someone who's been there and understands what they went through, and they could relate to them. Because going to a civilian and trying to let them understand what you went through in the trenches with live, bullets flying over you and grenades blowing up, and witnessing, your buddies getting injured and killed. A civilian really can't fully understand that as much as someone who's been there and saw that themselves. And unfortunately, a lot of veterans isolate themselves because they don't think that there's anyone who could understand that. So that's why veterans volunteer to become certified mentors with a little bit of training, mental health training, but not where we can, be their psychiatrist. But we can just talk to them as friends and relate to them and say, we know what you've been through. We were there. We understand. And we can talk about it, we can laugh about it, we can cry about it, and we're going to get through this together. On your darkest day, there's always going to be someone who's going to turn a light on for you.
That's really great. So we're about out of time. What I'd like to do is, if you could give your contact information if somebody wants to learn more about the Dwyer program or Bridges, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, at Bridges, we're located at 873 Route 45 in New City, right on the corner of 45 and New Hempstead Road. Anyone needs to get in touch, please call me at 845-521-9440. I will get back to you immediately, and if I can't help you, I will definitely find someone who will be able to help you or lead you in the right direction if anyone needs help.
Well, Carolyn, I want to thank you for your service, first and foremost to our country as an Army veteran, and your continuing service to our country and to our vets through Bridges and through the Dwyer program as the Veterans Outreach Coordinator.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. This is the one job that I have that I could say that I truly love and always look forward to waking up in the mornings.
That's great. That's great. It's wonderful program, and hopefully we'll reach even more people through this today. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.